Hello everyone, and welcome back to the stream for a Tier List Tuesday. You know what it is, every week we get together, we pick a topic apart, we have opinions, we get passionate. This week is no different. And this week is an interesting one. So we're talking old school cartoons, which we'll get into what old school means in just a second. But as you might have known, this weekend, there was a certain week triggered, the week of Chappell. Now, this wasn't planned. Let me tell you, me and Chappell have been talking for a couple weeks now. So I would like to claim myself as the Ray J of I asked Chappell first. Here's my guy Chappell with us today. Chappell, how you doing?
I'm good, Pooya. Yes, you hit it first.
I just had to get it out there before it's like, hey, what happened?
I'm on with the nipple king himself.
Oh man, you humble me. You really do.
But I'm excited. Yeah, this is the week of Chappell apparently, and I'm just blessed to be able to talk to you guys about nonsense, including cartoons. So I'm ready. My first Twitch stream. Let's go.
Let's go, man. So here's the thing. So we have 28 cartoons on the list today, team. And let's preface this by what did we do? What was the metric? Because there's a lot of cartoons. A lot of my favorites are still not even on this list. Chappell had a hard time giving me a short list himself. So we snubbed a lot today.
Everybody got snubbed.
Yeah. And we decided, so Chappell, what was the metric you went off by? What constitutes old school cartoons?
Okay, so I started basically like cartoons that meant something to me from the beginning of time up until the year 2000. And the reason I picked 2000 is just because it's a round number, and I can say, okay, let's put a stop to this right now after the 90s, because even 2000 was 20 years ago, so technically even those cartoons are old, but I wanted to kind of clearly define the lines of what I thought old school was. And I also wanted to make sure, I tried to touch on a lot of genres of old school cartoon, but also like kind of leave some certain things out. So I purposely omitted like anime, because I felt like that could be its own thing.
Yeah.
And even like tiny kids cartoons, like the PJ Masks of the world and stuff like that. Like I didn't want to bring in too much of that. Just kind of, that sweet spot of probably like ages like 8 to 15 or something, So I think that's kind of how I looked at it. What about you?
Yeah, it's kind of like a sampler plate for me. I kind of went with a little bit of everything from different places. The list completely, to me, like, because you sent the more completed list, I added a bunch in, but I was like, this is perfect. I think we have a little bit of everything. I know that we're gonna have some people going like, where is this one, where is that one? And trust me when I say we could end up doing 8 parts of the cartoons. Like, there's so many cartoons out there.
Right.
We'll definitely get there, but please, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy these today. We have a lot to get through. Chappell, let me introduce you to what I do here. So I've got 5 tiers up right now. You can see them on the screen over there. So the bottom tier has always been and will always be Bin'em. That's just, it's so trash, it belongs in the bin. There's no other way to put it, okay? 4th tier is Dead, and Deady. Now, Ed and Eddie isn't on this list because it's post-2000, but I stole the pun. So I stole the pun. I'm not even going to apologize for that. And then 3rd tier is middle, average, it's on. Like, it really is. It's on TV. I'm a watcher, or I did watch it back in the day. And then the second one to me is it still holds up, which is, it still works. It's still going well. I could still have it on and it'll be fine. And then top tier is it'll never get old. It's just straight up, it's withstood the test of time. It's GOAT status. I'm going to show my kids this one day probably. It's that level of amazing.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think you're right. We're gonna have to do an 8-parter because there's a lot of we left a lot of the goats out. We definitely left a lot of we tried to keep the list broad, and give you a little bit of everything. So like, don't come in looking for like the top 10 cartoons of all time, because then we'd have to stick them all in the top tier and we wouldn't have anywhere to put them. So we tried to mix it up a little bit, but I'm excited.
Oh, me too, honestly. And what's it called? Thank you, Mandy. I was about to ask you if you can ban that guy too. That'd be nice. Okay, so if our friendship stands this test of time, if we don't get into an argument here, we're definitely doing a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4. But Chappell, can you please take over the reins? And what would you like to talk about first? Nominate the first show of the day to talk about.
All right,
here.
I can just pick any cartoon. I can just start wherever.
Anywhere you like, absolutely.
All right, let's start. I want to start with something that might be like more middle of the road, right? Something that kind of will get the people going.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but not something extremely high on the list. So let's start with Johnny Bravo.
Okay. Johnny Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Look at him with the cakes. Okay, so Johnny Bravo. So I'll say this. I added 3 or 4 cartoons into the list. Johnny Bravo was one of the ones I added later. This is a Cartoon Network, I wouldn't want to say staple. This is one that I liked growing up, okay? I've watched it back since. I watched an episode today. It's not the same, dude.
It don't hold up.
At all. At all. Like, I'm supposed to be like this dude with all this upper body and this hair acting like a 4-year-old and really is not slick with the ladies and is supposed to be like a ladies' man but isn't. Like, none of it works. And, like, yeah, he's like on the verge of canceled for me, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Johnny Bravo is big canceled. He is a misogynist. He is kind of sexually assaulty, kind of. So I wouldn't be surprised if... Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Bravo called a woman sugar tits. Like, that wouldn't shock me.
That's his type of shit for sure.
Right. So Johnny Bravo as a cartoon, is that something we want to show our kids? Probably not. Is that something, that we should be proud of that was like on Cartoon Network for children to see? Probably not. So
no.
I'm down with bumping. We can start Johnny Bravo down at the bottom.
We could, and again, this is one of those things where I did not expect this coming in. I said coming in before I watched that video today, because back in the childhood days, I was like, "This is funny," and now I was like, "Oh, this is not fucking funny." And like, yes, it does not hold. Like, the nostalgia was like a bit, but like that's long expired, and then it will not hold. It doesn't hold up, and I will not want to show this to my kids, which is like the slam dunk of this is just straight Benham. So
right now, Johnny Bravo in the trash. Just imagine, like, those clips of the women whenever Johnny Bravo would get too fresh with them, they punch him in the face. This is Johnny Bravo's punch in the face. He's punching him right down the trash.
Punching him right into the bin. Okay. The next one that I would like to go with, let me open the text document so that I don't give away what's on the list here. Actually, you know what? It's going to get given away regardless. Okay. Let's talk about Ducktales next.
Ooh.
So, hit me with your Ducktales story.
Iconic theme song.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. Cartoons, some of the cartoons have banging theme songs. Like, they really do.
Oh yeah, we have a few on our list for sure that have like just like some iconic theme songs. DuckTales being one of those. I remember DuckTales thinking that, like, oh, how cool would it be to have a rich uncle, right? And so it's the 3 ducks, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, right? Yeah. And they live with their Uncle Scrooge McDuck, and Scrooge has a ton of money, and then they get in a ton of adventures based on that. There's probably been a lot of DuckTales, esque movies spun off of the show, some comic books. DuckTales was a big deal when it was a big deal, but they only had 4 seasons. In cartoon language, that's probably 100 episodes.
Yeah, right.
But I was a fan of DuckTales. It wasn't my favorite duck-based cartoon, but it was on the list. For sure. Yeah.
And that's the thing for me is that DuckTales, so for me, one of the things I liked as a kid with cartoons was cartoons made things look better. Like, there's another one on this list specifically that I'm going to talk about. But when Scrooge McDuck jumps into the coin swimming pool, that looked amazing. Now, obviously, as an adult thinking about this, I don't want to be fucking swimming in a sea of nickels or quarters or like none of that. It's disgusting.
Gold doubloons.
Yeah. So I loved that. And I think DuckTales, again, the music was good. I think it holds up. I like the fact that, we had a couple. There's like 3 of them, like the main kids. There's 3 of them. So like you could pick one. Your little cousin could pick one. Like everyone has their own. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. And ultimately, I thought this was an all-around great cartoon for me.
Same.
Yeah. I have not. This was one of the ones I didn't end up watching, because I didn't think that I needed to. I was like, I think I know what my opinion is. So I would assume this still holds up. I don't think that this is something that is like, I think it's above it's just on TV for me. I would like to give it at least second ranking on the tier.
Right. I could see DuckTales plummeting the further we go on.
That's true.
Yeah, because I don't think it doesn't like elicit the same like emotional response. You're like, oh, DuckTales, I remember that, but you don't have like a memory associated with you watching DuckTales aside from like maybe him just diving in those coins. But like you said, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. You had Webby. You know, for the young ladies who might have wanted to connect to a duck on their personal level. You know, so it was a duck for everyone. But I think you could put Ducktales safely in the middle, and it's probably gonna fall as we talk about other cartoons.
Middle third tier or middle second tier?
Whew. To be polite to Ducktales, I would say middle third.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I could see it coming down on. It's on. I think it's on because neither one of us went and watched it to see if it still holds up.
Right.
So we don't want to give it too much credit, and then someone goes back and watches it and say, you know, this is a mess. He's a monster.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Maybe it's on, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay. Do you think? Yeah, because I think they did a reboot of it too, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I remember. And,
yeah.
I don't remember if the reboot like took off either. So
I don't think so. I only found out when I was looking for logos for the tier list. So.
Okay, that works.
All right, where do you want to go next, Chappell?
Let's see. Let me go check out the list again. Ooh, okay. This is a personal favorite of mine.
Okay.
Spoil its ranking in my head, but let's talk about the Magic School Bus.
Okay.
Miss Frizzle's own. Yeah.
Magic School Bus. Hit me with it. Yes. Tell me why this is one of your favorites.
Okay, the Magic School Bus. Like, let's start no further than the theme song. Okay, so you got a very iconic theme song. You got Little Richard, I believe, was the singer on the Magic School Bus. He performed the theme song, so you know, an icon in and of itself. But you know, this was a children's cartoon that was based on, you know, teaching kids about science. And although there was a lot of magic involved, there was a lot of science explored. Miss Frizzle took her teammates, her classmates, or, you know, her students or whatever on these amazing field trips, and they got to like travel to outer space or inside the human body, or, you know, to a power plant to see how electricity works. Like, in my mind, this was a show that was like, it was doing all the things, right? It was funny. It was teaching. It had diversity in there. You know, the kids looked like a McDonald's commercial. It was a very, very diverse group of kids. And ultimately, I can't see any problems with the Magic School Bus. It's a show that I will always look back at fondly. I remember reading the books, like when I was, you know, for like preparing for science projects and stuff like that. So Magic School Bus is always going to be one of the greatest of all time for me. What you think?
They definitely, the Magic School Bus books were like one of the go-to books at the book fair thing that people went to once a year. You cop
right.
those for sure.
Yeah, bookmarks too.
Yeah.
Pens, pencils. Magic School Bus was the lick.
They had the merch game on point. I think Magic School Bus, the fact of the matter is, if it's fun and educational, it's hard to beat it. Because if it's just educational, then fuck it. That's teacher material. But if it's also fun and enjoyable, then you can pass it on. Science is improving. You know, we got new technology every day. But there are some core fundamentals in science that'll just, you know, they'll be translated to kids better with the help of magic and cartoons. So I think Jill said this in the chat, which I want to ask you specifically. Was Miss Frizzle a snack?
Are there children watching? Miss Frizzle did have that ass, if you for a teacher, but most teachers that I experienced back then, they did. They were kind of built a certain way. So,
I like that you said sugar tits earlier, but for that ass, you're like, are there kids here?
yeah, you have to check. Well, you know, one was bashing Johnny Bravo, and the other is praising Miss Frizzle and her.
True.
Miss Frizzle the body. So yeah, I think that Miss Frizzle is indeed a snack.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't speak on her dressing. She dresses how she feels. But Miss Frizzle is a baddie. Yeah,
okay.
Miss Frizzle's she's a baddie.
This isn't It'll Never Get Old, I'm guessing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's where we're headed.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah, that was an easy choice. So I want to go. Let's talk about one of the more old school options right here. Let's talk about. Wait, I don't want to talk about this one. Where's the other one? There we go. Let's talk about the Jetsons.
Okay. All right.
So
where are they?
So when I learned about the Jetsons, it was the same time I learned about the Flintstones. Okay.
Okay.
Same
type of show.
Yeah, pretty much exact same kind of situation, just different eras. I think the Jetsons were like the budget Flintstones. We're like the Wish to Amazon of the Flintstones.
You think so?
I wasn't my preferred. I preferred Flintstones for sure. But I enjoyed both of them. I did enjoy both of them. One of my favorite animated movies as a kid was the Flintstones Meet the Jetsons, because that was my first experience with a crossover, and I lost my fucking mind. So,
oh yeah, mind blown.
yeah. So I like the Jetsons. They've got. I mean, I guess the theme song's a little catchy. I would say it's catchy. Fine. So that's all right. Yeah, I think for me, the Jetsons was more of a it's on. Yeah, but what about you? What are you thinking of this?
The Jetsons, you can't help but compare the Jetsons and the Flintstones, right?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to question if they would be the same tier, because, like they're essentially like had in the same conversation, like Jetsons, Flintstones, they're kind of just one for one. But you did bring up a good point that the Jetsons is kind of like, it's not the Flintstones, right? The Flintstones has like 6 seasons and it's very iconic, and you have to kind of remind people of the Jetsons. Like, that's tough for me because I remember liking the Jetsons when I was younger, and I liked it because it was futuristic. But remember, like, I'm watching this in the 90s, and I'm thinking, by whatever year this is, I can't remember what year it's supposed to be set in, but we're supposed to have flying cars and robots that cook for you and all this other stuff. Whereas the Flintstones was kind of primitive. Like, you had all these animals doing labor for you. And complaining about it, mouthy animals. So yeah, I like the Jetsons, but I could see it just kind of being on,
Yeah, because that's the thing. So here's the other thing for me, is that just think about where Flintstones is. Fruity Pebbles are on shelves right now. Chewable vitamins were in the popular culture. Every fucking sitcom talked about chewable vitamins. They were a big thing. So for me, that is important. That literally stood the test of time, even though it's supposed to be depicting like prehistoric shit. Also, one of my favorite things was Fred Flintstone eating food. The food always looked fucking delicious.
Yeah, you have a point. The rack of ribs, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, they were like big ass, like big wave. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you win. The Flintstones is going to outrank the Jetsons, but I don't know where you put the Jetsons. The Flintstones, I don't know if the Flintstones is going to be top tier, but maybe we could put the Jetsons on that same level as the Ducktales.
Yeah, I think we can rank them both now, since they're similar enough when we've kind of talked about both. I do think that the Jetsons ends up where Ducktales is, perhaps, and then Flintstones probably second tier for now. Maybe they get bumped up or down later.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Cool.
Yeah, because I mean, again, like, I'm not a Fruity Pebbles guy, but the fact that they're always there in the cereal aisle, like, that to me is like a bump at least. Okay. So where do you want to go next?
All right. Let's see. Let me check out the list. Let's see what we have here. I mean, this is such a hard task. Like, I honestly should fight you. Let's see. All right. Let's get divisive. SpongeBob SquarePants. Let's go with SpongeBob.
Oh shit! You said divisive. Why'd you say that? Why'd you say divisive? What's gonna happen right now?
Because people really love SpongeBob, and then other people might not love SpongeBob as much. So I'm interested to know where you land on SpongeBob SquarePants, one of in the pantheon of cartoons.
Okay. So I have some opinions here. You did not know this when you picked it and you said divisive, but the cartoon's okay. Okay? The cartoon's fine. It's alright. But the insertion into popular culture, phenomenal. The memeage, phenomenal. The GIFs up there. The amount of time I've used the condescending, like, caps lock, lowercase caps. That one, I love that meme.
Yes.
I love I'm a head out. That's one of my favorites. So, yeah, I definitely enjoy what SpongeBob has given us. There's a lot. There's merch. There's video games that SpongeBob has done that have gone far and beyond. I'm seeing in the chat people are saying like old SpongeBob or new. I didn't even know there was a new. I'm assuming I'm leaning towards the old already because I'm pretty sure what I've seen is the old SpongeBob. So, yeah. And then obviously I'm a big food guy, so the fact that there's a Krabby Patty that's specific to SpongeBob, I'm a fan of that. But the cartoon is just okay. And that's being said based on the fact that people idolize this. Like it's on a pedestal. I feel like
SpongeBob is that girl. Yeah, it's that girl. Let me think. Okay, so SpongeBob, you do have an iconic theme song. There's no doubt about it. Who Lives in a Pineapple Under the Sea is gonna go down. It's already in the Library of Congress or something like that at this point. You got the memes. You got I'ma head out. You got the condescending remarks ones. You got the tired one. Where he's trying to catch his breath.
Oh yeah, that one's great too.
Yeah, that's a good one. SpongeBob is doing what needs to be done in the meme game. You got a good cast. Sandy Cheeks, how can you forget her? She's from Texas, so I have to stand myself. Patrick Star is a thing, but you also have Squidward.
Squidward,
yeah. Is iconic in and of itself. SpongeBob is not my favorite. However, I could see why people stand SpongeBob. So
yes,
I would put it higher than the Jetsons for sure. But it will not go in it'll never get old for me because according to the chat, it did get old.
Yeah, they literally had a new version.
Yeah, there's a new version and we don't go up for the new version. But back in the old days, the Krusty Krab pizza days, that's our SpongeBob. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like this evaluation of SpongeBob. I think for a cartoon that none of us really think is the best cartoon, for it to be in the second tier behind just the Flintstones and Magic School Bus, that's not a bad place to land right now.
Right. Now, like SpongeBob going down in history as like the Flintstone of '99. That's cool. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so the next one I want to talk about one of these smaller ones that probably isn't like that big of a deal. Let's talk about Dexter's Laboratory. Is this a 2000s one? Did I fuck up on this one?
Dexter might be 99. Let me fact check you real quick.
Yeah, let me fact check me. If it's not, I'm fine to move on, and we'll put it on the next one when we go post 2000s.
Dexter's Lab, the year is 1997.
Hey, we'll take it. Boom. Okay, cool.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay. Set. Dexter's Lab. I hated Dexter's voice. Dexter
oh my God.
has an annoying voice. It's like whatever the opposite of ASMR is. I hated Dexter's voice. Not a fan.
You like ASMR?
No, I'm saying it's the opposite. I mean, if ASMR is I like the noises you're giving me, it's the inverse. Yeah. I hated that voice. But
oh my God.
I loved, as a kid, the concept of, hey, I have a secret room in my house. And the fact that this kid had a whole ass laboratory in his house. Love that. I love that he, had to deal with some shit. He had to deal. Why is the chat losing their mind? I don't understand.
Well, I'll explain why the chat is losing their mind. You have disrespected and spat in the face of millions by saying you don't go up for Dexter. Dexter is that girl. That's a show, man.
Yes, just the voice was annoying. I still watched it willingly. Spoiler alert, this was one of the 3 ones I added to the list. I rated enough to have it in. Yeah.
Yeah, I left it out because I didn't want to piss nobody off. Like, Dexter, that's a show, man. That Dexter had knockoff Dexters. You remember Johnny Test? That was Dexter, But, Mandark was on there. He just said, ah ha ha, that kind of thing. You got Dee Dee destroying everything. You got Omelette du Fromage. You got so many iconic moments from Dexter. If you were into anime and stuff like that, Dexter always paid homage to that kind of thing. Those like swords and stuff. He would get in and start fighting. He did like a Speed Racer episode. I'm sorry, I can't let you disrespect Dexter's voice. It's annoying, yes.
That's all I'm saying. It's annoying. If we're on the same page on that, we're fine.
It's fine for the sake of art. We can say objectively that maybe his voice isn't the greatest, but that people wanted to be Dexter. Like I said, Johnny Test tried to grab at the hem of Dexter's robes and just couldn't. So I think Dexter it's higher than the Jetsons for me right now. Maybe it could go down, but right now it's higher than the Jetsons. What do you think?
I agree 100%. Because here's the thing, I liked watching this. I 100% maybe I shouldn't have come in with the fuck his voice because it made it seem like I hate him. No, I think it's higher than Jetsons. I feel like DuckTales probably has more longevity. I feel like Dexter's Lab, I don't know what the new thing is now, but I'm assuming it's been long replaced. Whereas if they're bringing DuckTales back, I feel like that's more of a, hey, this is kept on for longer. But also maybe it's just because it's Disney versus Cartoon Network. vibes. I don't know. Dexter's Laboratory also had good video games. I remember playing the games. Shout out to the old school Cartoon Network website that had all these like hella games, man. The Flash games. Oh fuck.
Oh god, yeah. Like, listen, I was on like every school computer downloading Shockwave.
Yup, Shockwave was the thing, man.
And I remember the Dexter game. You had to like make the pipes connect into like some like type of tubing to make the like. Oh man, I played that game to the computer broke. Like, I think there was a Teen Titans game. I don't want to spoil anybody's list or nothing. Like, Teen Titans not on the list, but there was a Teen Titans game. I whooped ass on that game, and I challenge anybody to that game today.
Yeah.
So
No.
Cartoon Network did what needed to be done.
So we had our computer at home did not have internet access, but at my dad's office it did. So on the weekends, my dad would take us to his office, and me and my sister had like slotted time of like, this is my hour, this is your hour, but we do the same fucking thing. We're just playing the same games anyways. So yeah, I have good memories of that stuff.
Yes. So I think you put Dexter on the it's on list. I think that's fine, but it needs to be in front of DuckTales.
Okay, I'm fine to concede that. I just think that ultimately, is it going to stand the test of time? Probably not. Probably something else will replace it at some point in the future.
Yeah, I could see that happening. But shout out to Dexter and the fond memories for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So where are we going next? Where are we at on this?
I'm looking.
this journey?
I'm trying to pick something. I've seen a couple of suggestions in the chat that I'm excited to get to, but let me go to something that I think might be in the conversation for the top tier. Let's talk about Rugrats.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about Rugrats.
Puya, what's your experience with Rugrats before I give away my own ranking?
So I loved Rugrats. Every bit of it. Nickelodeon was hard to get by for us because in Dubai, outside of having cable, we couldn't get it. It wasn't on like the free channels. So when we got Rugrats, I loved Rugrats. Loved the movies, loved the show. The PS1 games for Rugrats were phenomenal.
Yes.
There's nothing I wanted more as a kid than a Reptar bar because that wasn't a thing that existed in where I was from. So this was honestly so many fond memories. Obviously, the worst part about Rugrats is finding out in the future that there are some theories about how dark the show is, which is just depressing. But if you forget that, it's an amazing show. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, for me, those theories don't play into my memory of Rugrats because I didn't know that when I was growing up, and also I don't think they've been proven. I need to see the data. So I would like to speak to the person who came up with these theories. I just want to talk outside real quick in the backyard where we got some space and we can talk about some things. But yeah, Rugrats it's an iconic show. Like you said, the game. I remember the game vividly. Like, you go to Ice Cream Mountain, you could go to Upside Down World, you could drive you can ride in Reptar if you wanted to. Like the game, mini golf on that game was amazing. They did what they had to do. You got the most iconic characters on television, just with Tommy and Angelica and Chucky and Phil and Lil. Like, you had a character for everybody. If you were a twin, you got a twin. It was one of those shows that I think everybody could relate to, because I guess came out in 91. So at some point you were a baby while the show was on, or at least baby adjacent. Right, so you were within their age range to say, yeah, this is something I could picture me and my people doing, And so, I think I don't have any complaints about Rugrats. I think it might have gone a little bit downhill the longer it went on. After the Kimmy stuff, and I think when they went All Grown Up, I was a fan of All Grown Up, but I know it wasn't for everybody.
I never got there. Yeah.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. I dabbled in the All Grown Up. It wasn't my favorite, but I like to feel like I grew up with them. So, so it was something I touched on. But Rugrats, for me, you can't beat it. Top tier.
Yeah, I think so too. I think top tier. Is it above Magic School Bus for you?
Whew. Oh, God.
For me, it is.
See, that's the thing. Now, I see the functionality of Magic School Bus, right? Like, if I showed it to my kids tomorrow, it's aging well, right? I mean, aside from the fact that maybe it has I don't know, like some references to there being 9 planets as opposed to 8.
Right.
I think most of the stuff is up to date. I think Rugrats might make a few topical references at the time that might have been, just for if you were in that moment, you respected a lot more. So for me, Rugrats is next to Magic School Bus, but does not beat it.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magic School Bus is number one for me.
Yeah.
But like I said, hey, everybody has their own thing as far as Rugrats goes. But like I said, but if Rugrats had ended earlier, maybe if they hadn't gone all grown up, I would let them make it a little bit more. But they kind of jumped the shark a little bit for me. So, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to nominate this next one, and I'm going to need you to probably hold it down stronger, because when I tell you my knowledge of this one is closer to zero, I'm being honest. Let's talk about Doug.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you decided to talk about Doug, because Doug is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. So I will be the guy beating the drum for Doug this entire time. And if I gotta fight that fight on my own, then I just will. Okay. So Doug, the TV series. I'm not talking about the ABC Disney, remake, but the original Nickelodeon series was amazing. Doug was a teenage boy who could pretty much imagine himself into different scenarios where he would get to kind of leave his mundane world. He has a best friend named Skeeter and a dog named Pork Chop, and a love interest named Patty Mayonnaise, and he was just your average kid who could draw and write in a journal. And Doug put himself in situations where he would, everyday life things for like someone of his age, but he had very vivid imagination. He got to kind of explore different things. The Beats was his favorite band, and they have like their song Killer Tofu, which I think is still somewhere in the culture. I think Doug is one of those shows that if you grew up with Doug, you just kind of knew him as like one of your friends, right? There was Quail Man. There was, he had alter egos left and right. I think Doug is iconic, but I could see for people, I haven't looked at the chat yet. I wonder what they're saying about Doug.
Oh, they're loving it.
Theme song on point. So iconic, it was on 2 different channels. Now, when it went to a different channel, it really didn't do what it needed to do. But Killer Tofu is a theme song that we could all live with forever. Banging on a Trash Can came from Doug. I have to stand Doug. I will wave the flag. Doug is in my top tier. Maybe not, it'll never get old, but it still holds up for sure. I'm putting it above SpongeBob for me.
Okay. I'm willing to co-sign that because Doug was not a cartoon that ended up on my radar at all growing up. Yeah. There was 2 on this list that I knew of always growing up, but I never ended up watching them. Doug was one of them. So, okay. And I'm sure the other one will elicit a similar reaction from people, but I've just never seen it, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. Well, there's a couple on there that I'm not too familiar with, but I picked them for the sake of having different things on the list.
Interesting. So. Yeah, there was like a few that I was like, okay, I need to watch them. So I watched a bunch last night, and I'm curious when we get there. So, okay. Right. Next one on this list here. Let's talk about a show that I think many people love. I'm assuming. We'll find out shortly. Let's talk about Recess.
Recess. Okay. Recess is another beloved show for me. That show was just perfect for the age I guess I was at the time, where I believe they were in 4th grade. Yeah. And you had Gus, the new kid, comes to this school, and he's bounced around from school to school, and he meets this group of kids who've already kind of made their clique. And it was a clique of, like I said, a diverse clique, really. They had the kind of grungy girl, and the really smart girl, and then like the big lovable guy, and then the jock, and then the wise guy, and you had the so it really like kind of touched on whoever you wanted to be in that mold, but it also like went and touched on other tropes in schools as well. You had the Ashleys, Ashley A and C and D, and all the Ashleys, where they were like the preppy girls, and and then you had like the school snitch Randall and his notepad. Recess is iconic. I don't think there's a problem with Recess ever. I think it's one of those shows that if you showed it today, it's going to be just fine. It's relatable. I know there was a movie, maybe a couple movies. I think Recess School's out, and maybe something else. But yeah, give me TJ Detweiler any day. Recess is in a class of its own.
It's phenomenal. And I think the whole appeal of it is that there is a little bit of everyone represented in that crew. And it's kind of like, it is kind of, maybe not an exact depiction, but you do see these different types of people in your schools growing up. Your jocks, your grungy kids, your pudgy guy, which was kind of my role growing up. So you got a little bit of everything. I like it. I think that it'll last. I think, and I think it'll continue to be good moving forward. I watched that episode today to refresh myself, and it was easy to watch. Again, as an older person now, it was also still easier to watch because let me tell you, some of these watching them again, I was like, oh, this does not hold up for an adult. So now I kind of understand why my parents would be like, well, what is this that the kids are watching? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm starting to understand that now. But no, I think Recess is phenomenal. And then it's just a matter of, is this above Rugrats for me or not, really? Like,
I don't think it's above Rugrats.
No, and my nostalgia is way stronger for Rugrats, too. With the video games and everything. Okay.
I don't think it's above Rugrats.
Yeah,
no,
I don't think I could do it.
You're right. Somebody in the chat pointed out that the kindergartners being like wild animals, they literally look tribal.
Was so good. Yeah, I forgot about that. The savage kindergartners.
Listen, I have taught kindergarten. Okay, I want to be very clear that is the most accurate like portrayal of kindergartners I've ever seen in my life. Okay, that is true. They do what they want. And you were just lucky to be there in the room with them trying to get through the day. So now the Recess, Recess holds up. It's going to be after Rugrats for me, but I like it being in the top tier.
No, when I was in kindergarten, I remember very specifically this one kid cut this girl's hair. Like, just with no, like, they weren't playing barbershop. They weren't playing salon. He just went up to her and cut her hair.
Oh my God.
So it was at that moment I realized that, this is a different breed of human right here. That's happening.
They're different. That's not the same type of person we are. We are civilized people once you get out of kindergarten. But that first year, you're like, God, it's the Wild West.
Yeah. All right. So where would you want to go next here?
Let's see. I'm thinking of something that probably is gonna fall, I guess, a little bit lower. Can we talk about Pepper Ann?
We can. Yes, go for it. What are your thoughts on Pepper Ann?
Pepper Ann was much too cool for 7th grade, if I remember correctly. She, I don't remember a lot of young girls having like their own like standalone show at that time, right? And so Pepper Ann stood out to me as like something different, that it came on I believe it was one Saturday morning on ABC, or like, and it would come on after recess or around that same area. But yeah, I liked Pepper Ann. She was very much like, she wasn't your girly girl. So Pepper Ann, she liked sports and she kind of like hanging out with her friends, just kind of having a good time. She had a sibling named Moose. I say sibling because Lord knows I don't remember Moose's gender at this time. I guess it doesn't matter. But Moose was just kind of there. She had her good friends Milo and Nikki. Pepper Ann was just kind of like your average 7th grader who was just living her life. She didn't really have a lot of there's not a lot of memorable storylines for her, but I think she was always likable. I think her mom was pretty cool. So I have no problems with Pepper Ann, but I believe she's going to be toward the bottom for me.
Yeah, so I had never heard of Pepper Ann or watched Pepper Ann. So last night, first episode I started watching in preparation for this list was Pepper Ann. And I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, because I did enjoy it. It kept up. There was enough content in there for me as an adult to like recognize and enjoy. There was some subtle humor in there that I liked. The theme song was actually pretty good. I liked that. It's very classic, 90s, early 2000s animation with the way everyone's built. So, the nostalgia was still there, even though I had never seen it. But it made me feel like I had seen it before. So, it was decent. And I think that it's something that is kind of a little bit further away from, I think, kids age 5 to 10 can watch this and be like, yeah, I like this. But then also kids age 12 to 15 can also kind of watch this and be like, yeah, no, there's something in there for me as well. So I think I can't because here's the thing. I'm starting to separate it from, is it better than the Jetsons? No. But then
I don't know. Is it better than the Jetsons?
I don't know.
I might look. Pepper Ann has an iconic theme song, like you said. The theme song is good, but Pepper Ann is much too cool for 7th grade. Pepper Ann, she's one in a million. I think she's gonna be near the Jetsons to say the least. Is she higher than the Jetsons? Is the question. For For me, you could take either one of them. I don't know. Do you want to go with the chat on this one? Take a vote, or are you good with to put?
Yeah, let's get the chat involved here. Chat, do you want this above or below the Jetsons? I think we keep it still on the it's on. Also, I learned through doing this research while we're getting the chat to talk about this, a lot of these cartoons are just available on YouTube, like full episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Kids love YouTube these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping I might have to go out and look at Pepper Ann again because I remember, like I said, I remember it fondly enough to put it on the list. But I think it might have been better than the Jetsons. It just didn't get the clout. The Jetsons had the Flintstones bump.
They did. So no, Jetsons did have the Flintstones bump. And also, we got to remember, during the time where Jetsons was a thing, like, were there all these different cartoon channels and networks that were competing, all these extra products that you could look at? Not as much. So definitely there'd be more of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with Pepper Ann being above the Jetsons. I think the chat is okay with Pepper Ann being above the Jetsons.
I'm fine
I think
with
we'll
that.
be all right there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, cool.
No, I think that works out real nice.
That does. I like it.
Yeah.
All right,
let's go with... I want to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Speaking of great theme songs.
An icon.
I mean, this, for me, is a show and a cartoon that has been slandered in present day. The movies sucked.
Wait a minute. Wait, come back. They slander in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles these days?
I feel like the disrespect that the Michael Bay fucking showed the series by making those two movies was awful. I did not like that. But no, the animated series was great. This was a very easy to market show. It had great video games. There's 4 turtles. Each of them have their own, weapon of choice, and they're all named after like Renaissance paint artists, so that's phenomenal. Splinter's out here being a master rat, like Jedi to them, so that's phenomenal. Also, turtles eating pizza. Like, I love pizza, I love turtles. Boom, that's a combination for me as well. Who would have thought I would have been intrigued about the sewage system? I would have never until Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So they put a lot of things out there for just one cartoon.
Yeah, I agreed. I don't think a child walks past a manhole cover without thinking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back then, right?
Right.
Every time you see a sewer or something, you're like, oh yeah, I wonder what's down there. I wonder if I can go down there. Big turtles down there. And so yeah, I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is iconic. I think it has movies. It has spin-offs. It has cartoon spin-offs. It has, again, the theme song is iconic. It's one of those things where if you were alive, the Turtles, right?
Yeah.
They just exist. And so I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I can't put it anywhere except in the top.
Yeah. Also, pointed out in the chat by Mandy, Shredder was terrifying as a young kid.
Oh my god. Yeah. Look, if huge mutant turtles, and a huge mutant rat don't terrify you enough, look no further than Shredder. So. If you weren't already having nightmares, baby, I got one for you. Look at Shredder. That guy's horrific.
Big time. So I think this is top tier. The question is, where in the top tier does it lie? Or do you disagree with that assessment?
No, it's top tier. Okay. It's, in my mind, they could remake Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tomorrow. And they could make another movie tomorrow, and next year they could do it again, and next year they could do it again. It has the most name recognition, more than any of those shows. I think there's an argument for it to be at the top.
Yes,
I think
so too.
Number one with a bullet. What you think?
I think so too, because I think honestly it kind of has the same, like, this isn't on the list, but it's kind of got that Pokemon appeal where I've definitely I'm a true 150, maybe the expanded one, like second gen after that, but I fell off. But they can keep pumping out new ones and they'll catch the next generation, the next generation, the next generation. And I think it's the same thing with the Turtles. I think they can keep redoing this and keep generating it. It is silently one of these, like, because it is kind of like a superhero type thing, but it's not in that like Marvel or DC universe. They kind of silently are doing their own thing and thriving. So I think for that reason, I would want this to be there for sure.
Oh yeah, and you want to talk about merch? nobody has merch like the Turtles, right? Like it's on T-shirts, and you can go listen. You can go to Walmart and get a Ninja Turtle T-shirt right now for $5. But then you can also go to what's that? You can go to Target and get a one for $10. You can order a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costume offline and pay $50 for it. Like they have the merch game on lock. So I think right there, it's gonna be number one. I don't know what's gonna like dethrone it, but I'm excited to have the conversation.
Yeah, same. Big same. Yes. Okay. So where do you want to go next now? While you're thinking, I'm going to just quickly say, so Pokemon isn't on the list. I thought about it. I'm like, I think some people might be like, it's an anime, so it doesn't count. And then South Park is in here, Simpsons is in here, Family Guy is in here. Basically anything that like is more adult so cartoons. Like adult content is not included on the list.
Yeah, you and I were on the same page with that. I strongly considered The Simpsons for a little bit because it's The Simpsons, but I just couldn't get past the fact that it's an adult cartoon, and we're trying to keep this to a certain population of cartoons.
Yeah.
So I agree. But I did have some honorable mentions that I didn't write down, but I've been seeing the chat kind of talking about it. Like for me, the Jackie Chan Adventures is robbed by not being on this list, so it needs to be on the second go round. There's a ton of shows we could have covered. So for sure, Pokemon is iconic. Now, Digimon is probably the better show. Don't shoot me. Don't at me. But Digimon is the better show.
I never got into it.
It's okay. It's better than Pokemon. Just know that. But Pokemon had games and stuff, so that's kind of how it takes the lead over.
Even if Digimon was better, their marketing department sucked.
Yeah,
because
they dropped the ball.
Yeah,
like people like knock off Pokemon. Nah, Digimon was a lane of its own. Trust me on this one. But yeah. So my next choice is going to be the Powerpuff Girls.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think about the Powerpuff Girls?
Yo, the Powerpuff Girls were great. I liked the whole. First of all, the starting lines being sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients used to make. Boom. Love that. Chemical X. Phenomenal. Mojo Jojo as the name of a villain. Top tier. Love that. And again, I love cartoons where you can kind of like everyone in the squad can pick one of their own. So the fact that there's three of them, Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup, easy decision again. Great marketing as well. The villains kind of like, villainous. Kind of some of them look very creepy. And then the mayor's just a complete simp, but damn, Miss Bellum got hips.
Oh my God, Sarah Bellum. Yeah. The stallion.
Yeah. No, I loved everything about this, and like honestly, it was one of those things where like you can tell it's being marketed to girls, but it worked for everybody, and that's what I love that it was proving was you don't need to be separating these like cartoons into gender. Like this fucking works for everyone. So yeah, I remember. Yeah, there's so many iconic moments. That one kid who eats glue, Elmer's glue, he becomes a glue monster. That one kid with the roaches, and the roaches came to like the school and like terrorized everything. The Rowdy Rough Boys, they brought in the alternate universe Powerpuff Girls, the Rowdy Rough Boys, and they were ultimately destroying the girls until the Feminine Wilds kicked in, and then all of a sudden they blew up. So I think there was a lot in Powerpuff Girls. I think it's iconic. I think it's one of those cartoons that will always live in people's life, in their memories. I don't know if I think they've remade it a couple times maybe at this point. But I don't know if that ever caught on. But my kids could watch Powerpuff Girls, so I think it's going to be pretty high up in the rankings. Yeah, for me, I think this is, I'm comparing it with the other Cartoon Network one that I'm looking at, which is Dexter. It's above Dexter for me. So I think it's think it's in the it still holds up second tier, maybe in the bottom of that potentially, but at the very least it's second tier and it's not close. You think it's above or below SpongeBob? I feel like just given the pop culture impact that SpongeBob had, it has to remain lower to me. Yeah, I think so. It makes me sad too because I really like the Powerpuff Girls, but there's no way I'm putting it over Doug. You can fight me. And
Yeah, it's definitely over Dexter for sure. And I think they actually have like similar, like their creators were either the same creator or they were roommates or something. I vaguely remember that story. So so yeah, Powerpuff Girls is gonna be right underneath SpongeBob.
Yeah.
In the rankings. But yeah, that's a classic show. I'm so happy that it's still in conversation. People haven't forgotten.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Again, also had good games as well. Good Game Boy games, I believe. So I want to talk about Gargoyles next. One of the more dark ones we've had in here. One of the more like, I feel like if I'm 6 years old, this might terrify me, but it'd still be on TV to watch. No, I mean, the premise of Gargoyles, relatively simple. They're on top of a building. At the break of dawn, they return back to stone. At night, they're these badass gargoyles that are all over the place. This was a big hit for me. I enjoyed this a lot. More than I ever thought I would, even when I first watched it. But what about you?
Okay. I wasn't a Gargoyles guy. Okay. I mean, I know people were, but it wasn't like if Gargoyles was on, as you might have been able to tell by now, I'm a very goofy individual. I like to laugh a lot. And Gargoyles isn't just giving me the comedy that young Chappell needed.
Yeah.
So for me, it was one of those like, if I ever felt like I was being an adult, I might go watch Gargoyles. but no, it's not. It's not giving me the same. Like I remember it fondly, but it's not giving me the same type of energy that Powerpuff Girls gives me. As far as like something that I need to watch, right?
Yeah.
If it's on, I might catch it, but it was never something that I was trying to like actively go find. I think Gargoyles was a Disney Channel.
I believe it was Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might have been on ABC for a while. So it was in the rotation, but it just never quite became that show for me. So you could put it probably around Ducktales. Personally, now that I'm looking at Pepper Ann versus Ducktales, I'd probably put Pepper Ann above Ducktales. But Gargoyles and Ducktales could be 1 and 2 for me. They can be in the same tier.
Yeah, I started life the same way too. I was always comedy, always laughs. Like anything that gave me comedy was what I would lean towards most likely, anyways. Gargoyles did have its impact, but also it's not one that I can say I've truly like watched religiously, whereas some of these other ones, if it was on, I would immediately drop everything to watch them. So I think for that reason, I think it hits on is where it should belong, in the middle. So are you saying above DuckTales then? I would say maybe below DuckTales.
Below DuckTales for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Below DuckTales and above Pepper Ann. Okay, it's gonna split that. All right.
Yeah. So maybe we can look at that at the end. Okay. So where do you want to go next? We're starting to get to. Let's see. We're almost halfway now. About halfway through.
Okay. All right. So so let's go with Hey Arnold. I saw it pop up a couple times in the chat. Are you a Hey Arnold guy?
So earlier I said when we talked about Doug, there was one other show that I know is a big one that I've not seen. Hey Arnold is that show.
Okay.
Not exposed to this.
Did you go watch it?
No, I did not, because I'm not gonna lie. Looking at him right now on my screen over here, this football head does nothing for me. I'm not keen on checking this out. Am I missing out, though?
You are missing out. Arnold was everything. I don't know what the chat is saying, but this is a classic show for me. This is a top tier show for Chappell. Arnold was everything I thought I was. He was young. He's cool. He had cool friends. He had like cool people around him. He went, Arnold had the coolest room. His room, now you haven't seen the show, but his room is like completely electronic, and this is like in the 90s. So he could like hit the remote and his stereo come on, hit the other remote, the TV come on, the couch flips out into like a bed. Arnold was the coolest guy in the neighborhood. It was just, he's that guy. Like everybody wanted to be Arnold in my mind. Like I wanted to be Arnold. He had a best friend named Gerald. Wore like a Scottie Pippen jersey. I don't know, but like this weird leggings it was a weird outfit. But yeah, but Arnold had he had a crazy family. He had a stalker in Helga G. Pataki. And Helga, she wasn't like Johnny Bravo stalkerish. She was worse. She was more like you should probably call the police on Helga, but because she's a weirdo. But no, for me, there's no way that Arnold isn't in the conversation for the very top tier.
Damn.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. Like let's say if the top tier right now has 4 in it, I'm bumping Recess down for Arnold every time. I'm bumping Rugrats down for Arnold. Arnold is that guy.
So I'm looking at this room. This room looks phenomenal. So I definitely get the appeal of the room.
Yeah.
Oh man, I should have really watched one of these episodes before.
I will send you an episode.
All right, yeah, pick one for me, and I'll watch it, and I will tweet at you publicly what I thought about it.
Arnold hangs up. If I can get some chat support, I don't know what they're saying. Let me go look.
They're saying, "Oh my god, amazing, Puya, what the fuck?"
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing: you're telling me that you aspired to be Arnold, and I know nothing about the show. All I know is I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "Why is his hat tiny and in between all this hair? How is this guy supposed to be the cool guy? He doesn't look cool to me."
Yeah, listen, Stoop Kid was afraid to leave his stoop on Hey Arnold. There was a Pigeon Man. Arnold had an urban legend for like all the characters in his neighborhood. He's from like this like version of like New York / Chicago. I'm not quite sure, but it's like a hybrid of that, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Arnold had all of like the little urban legends, all the quotes, all the sayings. The first episode is literally about him about to get bullied by somebody, and he like dances his way out of trouble. Like Arnold is that guy. Yeah, he's just laid back. His head is weird shaped, and that's okay. I don't think many people would fight me on saying that Arnold is a better cartoon than the Rugrats.
Okay, I'm fine leaving it here above Rugrats because I trust your taste. Because I rate you, and I also trust the chat's taste. And if everyone's telling me I'm wrong, then I must be missing out on something here. So
I don't know what the Discord is, but people are saying let's watch it in the Discord. I
don't
know what that is. I'll watch it.
It's if you are a subscriber to Taryn's Twitch channel, you get an invite to Taryn's Discord where people watch stuff, they hang out. So definitely consider doing that if you want to get in on this all this rewatch stuff that happens for sure.
Yeah, and Hey Arnold, there was like a jazz track throughout the whole thing. So if you ever thought like you were getting too grown up for cartoons, that's why. Because Arnold had us listening to jazz music. It was a great show. I have no complaints about Hey Arnold. It's just that show.
Yeah, Phil's saying that he doesn't co-sign Dip and Recess lower, but Arnold definitely slaps. So that's Phil T's opinion on the matter. Okay.
Wait, one of my friends just texted me. They said you banned them from the chat because he called me ghetto.
Oh my god, that was your friend.
Yeah, he just texted me that.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, who is this person?
So, first of all, he has the right to call me ghetto. He's seen me in my ghettoist.
Okay.
But I think he wants back in. So if you can.
Oh, for sure, Mandy. If you can figure out how to do this, if not, let Daquan know. How can we unban?
Right. And also, Mandy, thank you for looking out, okay? Thank y'all for looking out, because if it wasn't him, I'd definitely be like, whoop,
yeah. No, because it's happened to me with Twitch, man, where someone will follow me and then within that first minute say something outrageous. So when we saw that, I thought it was like one of those bot type people. But no, there we go. Sir Lexington is back in business, yes, unbanned. We're good to go.
He's a weirdo. No, I tweeted out the link to it after you tweeted it, so I'm assuming some of my friends have.
No, good. I mean, the more the merrier. I'm glad they're here.
Exactly. Yeah, and so if Lex calls me ghetto, it's fine. He can stay.
Okay.
But yes, so and I think he agrees with a lot of your takes too, Puya. So.
Amazing. Okay, we're friends. No, it's all good, Lex. My bad. I didn't know. I thought you were like coming here with the slander. I was like, no, let's get that sorted. Also, Chappell, they're saying that they can't hear you well at the moment.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. They're saying it's not loud enough.
Do I need to?
Oh no, it's perfect now.
What about?
I think we're good.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I think we're good. Lauren, if you can, if everyone else, if you hear him fine, Lauren, it might just be you. Either refresh the stream or increase your volume. It should work fine. Yeah.
Oh, Shan Fran says I'm quiet.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix it. Oh, well, some people are saying...
Yeah, some people are saying I'm too loud. Or my audio is peaking a bit. If anything, Puya's loud. How dare you? It's my stream. I should be loud. I can move mine down a little bit. Okay, I'll move mine down a little bit. Okay, so you just brought up Hey Arnold. We went through that. That was an experience. Okay, so I need to get here. I'm about to fucking piss people off, I think. But I watched an episode of Little Bear last night. Okay?
Okay.
Let's just say, maybe I should just say this and move on, is that Little Bear is not built for someone my age to watch now.
Okay.
I watched an episode where Little Bear and I don't know, I guess like this young girl and the grandma make gingerbread cookies. and then the gingerbread cookies run away. But then in the very same episode, there's a different arc where Little Bear has taken Papa Bear's old marbles and is playing marbles with like the duck and the chicken, and then the monkey wins and is like, you said keepsy, so I'm keeping your marbles. And I was like, I have not smoked enough weed to do this. I have not smoked any weed, and I think that weed would be necessary if I'm watching this as an adult. So it did not hold up for my adult eyes and my adult brain. It's definitely meant for kids. So assuming you've watched this as a kid, tell me that this was not boring as a kid.
I wish I could tell you that. Honestly, Little Bear was not my go-to at any point. If it was on, sure. Yeah, I'd watch it. I got to get to one of the other cartoons, and I'll sit through Little Bear. But it's probably a little too young for this particular list. Unfortunately, that's going to make it plummet toward the bottom. But Little Bears, it's like people are in the chat are saying it's a baby show, and it pretty much is. I mean, these about 6-year-olds probably when you want to match out a little bit, and it doesn't have the nostalgia that some children's shows have. Like if Dora the Explorer was on the list, like she's definitely she's outstripping Little Bear and lapping it, right?
Probably.
So yeah, exactly. So the bear might be going to the bin.
Yeah, bin the bear and the bear's weird bird cronies. Yeah, it was just so weird. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Why is this bear first of all, the gingerbread men and women got up to leave the tray, and they were told, the grandma said, keep an eye on the gingerbread, and then they got up to leave, and the girl was like, where are you going? We're supposed to keep an eye on you and then eat you. I was like, okay, this is sinister.
Right. Why would they stick around? What are you talking about?
Yeah. So that was peak. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Yeah, Little Bear can go.
Yeah. Is it above or below Johnny Bravo?
It's above Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo been canceled.
It's canceled. He's canceled.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We talked about Little Bear. I think the chat's kind of bringing this up. In the same vein as Little Bear, you got Franklin. Franklin the Turtle.
Also watched Franklin last night for the first time.
Franklin is not as bad as Little Bear, is it?
Not as bad, no.
Yeah.
But it made me realize how kids, very young kids' cartoons have no plot really, and just anything happens, and there's no connective tissue to these episodes.
Look at us.
So yeah, in the episode I saw, Franklin was excited to go to this birthday party, but then I blinked because I was watching Franklin while pulling up the images for the stream, and then in the same episode he's having a bad day and now he's being a little brat to his parents, so that was happening. But I do think that Franklin was cuter, more appeal to me. Again, I'm a fan of turtles, so it spoke better to me. So above the bear for sure, but overall I'm still not completely sorted. What do you think about Franklin?
You made valid points. It's better than Little Bear for sure. It's gonna be above Little Bear. I don't know if it's gonna be on the same tier as Little Bear. I feel like now that I've done it a disservice because it's so much younger. It's for us. Little Bear and Franklin are for younger audiences. But that being said, even if they weren't, like I said, had this been Blue's Clues, it wouldn't matter. Blue's Clues would be iconic and it would just be outstripping all this stuff. So no, I think it needs to go on Dead, Dead, and Deady.
I was just going to say, we need one there. I feel like necessarily, but I think that works out in Dead, Dead, and Deady. But that's the thing is that, I watched, so I was a big Power Rangers guy as a kid. So then when I found out that Netflix had them all, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back and watch those. And the disappointment in rewatching and realizing that, this was not good. And I thought it was the best show on the planet. So it definitely is one of those things where some things you're just going to age out of. And the sad truth is it's better not to go back and watch them because it'll ruin them for you.
Oh yeah, Power Rangers is definitely one of those shows that you go back and watch and you're like, what was I doing? Why did I mean, because it's not that we just liked Power Rangers. We were living and breathing Power Rangers at the time, right? There was no kid. There was just we were obsessed. It was almost like a cult. And so to go and watch it now and be like, I'm not even a little bit interested in this. I didn't hate the movie, the one that just recently, that a couple.
I haven't seen the new one yet. Yeah.
I watched it. I didn't hate it, but again, it was Power Rangers, so I had to kind of put it in its own separate bubble of okay, I don't hate you, but are you good? No. And
Right.
so yeah, I understand for sure. Some things we just can't revisit.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's see. So we talked about Franklin. We talked about Little Bear. I would say this is probably more for the youngins as well, so we can just round them out with Arthur. But
okay.
This is a different level, though. Like
this is different. Mm-hmm. This ain't Little Bear.
No, for sure it is fucking not Little Bear. No, Arthur's phenomenal. Arthur had a great, like, Arthur had like a low key, like a reggae theme song almost. I loved it. I bopped to that shit. The whole library card thing. I liked his again, the biggest problem for me is I've forgotten a lot of the character names, so it's been great that you keep firing them out because I do not remember them. But straight up, I loved the rabbit. The rabbit buddy to me was like the coolest animal friend ever on any show. I wanted to be that kid. DW was great. Having fun isn't hard without a library card. It's educational a little bit. It's a good family show. This is an easy choice of, like, you can keep putting this on reruns till the end of time, and it's good. Buster, there we go. Buster the rabbit.
Buster the bunny, yeah.
Buster the bunny, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, DW, Dora Winifred, she's a queen. She is our queen. Mm-hmm. There's a Dora Winifred meme for anything. Like, you look up the meme. DW had she knew what was going on. She'd been here before, and so I love Arthur. You want to talk about book fairs? Arthur was the guy too. Magic School Bus. Arthur, you get you a Arthur pencil case or like a bookmark. Mm-hmm. Like some pencils, a poster. Yeah, Arthur was that guy.
And my favorite meme of all these cartoons, the Angry Arthur Fist. The Angry Arthur
iconic.
Fist is phenomenal.
Yeah. Great memes. If we're gonna talk about memes in the culture, we talked about SpongeBob. We cannot ignore Arthur. Arthur's moving up. He's going toward the top. Where is Arthur going to stop?
I think Arthur's in It'll Never Get Old, just simply because of the fact that it hasn't. It's still happening. I'm still seeing it pop up and get, like, watched by kids nowadays. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah. For sure. Arthur, aka John Legend, top tier for sure.
Yeah.
Is it above Recess?
For me, as a 28-year-old, probably not. But overall, I would assume so, because I think that it is, more people. If you're thinking about how many kids ended up seeing Arthur versus how many kids ended up seeing Recess, everyone watched Arthur and then some watched Recess later.
That's true. That's true. You make a valid point. And I'm dressed like Arthur today.
Yeah, someone in the chat was like, Chappell's dressed like Arthur today.
I came here to pay homage to the king. So Arthur will be at the top of the list for me. Papaya, you good, man. No shade at all. Like I said, I'm an Arthur stan from back in the day. So no, all love for Arthur, my king.
Absolutely, and I think above Recess is a good spot for Arthur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just spoil everything when I say that there's not a bigger Batman stan in this world than me. Okay? I'm obsessed with the guy. Batman is my guy. I understand people don't like Batman because he lives rent-free in your heads, and you guys hate it, okay? You guys lose sleep at night over the Bat. He is the one who knocks. Batman is that guy. No, he is the GOAT.
Batman's Walter White now?
Batman is the GOAT. Batman is everything I have been in my life and everything I would aspire to be. So Batman, the animated series, has to be on the list. And for me, can't touch it. It's at the top.
So here's the thing. I've watched Batman, the animated series. Mm-hmm. And it is great. It was very, very, very good. And it was definitely must-see television for me. Mm-hmm. It was always, so on the channel that it came on, it was always at like 4:30 p.m. So it was like peak, like I've eaten lunch and like I'm doing my homework. My mom's gone away to take a nap. So it's like me chilling with the TV. So I'm like barely doing my homework, but I'm watching it. So it hit all the spots. And here's the thing. I'm not really a big Batman guy otherwise, but this is my favorite iteration of Batman is the animated series. So I would agree with you that this is a hot, like a top half pick, definitely one of the top 2 tiers. If you want it in the top tier, you're a guest that said yes and agreed to come on to do this thing, I'll give it to you, but it'll have to be below recess.
Oh my God. I almost like burned the list to the ground. I wasn't ready for that one. Below recess?
Oh, apparently Harley Quinn debuted on Batman the Animated Series. I did not know that's the debut.
Look at the material.
Mm-hmm.
Look its power, his mind. Listen, I cannot allow Batman to be lower than Recess. I will settle for Batman being lower than Arthur, but I cannot allow lower than Recess because we talked about merch earlier.
Oh,
it's Batman.
Without a doubt.
Batman.
And so here's the thing: Batman the Animated Series isn't even the first Batman cartoon to exist.
Right.
So it's like a reboot of an older one. But the fact that when a reboot is done and is great and holds its own and is good enough that it can stand at its own on a tier list, that's a good thing to say as well. So yeah.
So if it was just me, if it wasn't you and I together, anybody who knows me knows that the list could have just been Batman and that would have been it.
Yeah. So would this be above Ninja Turtles if I didn't step in?
Yes. without second thought. Excuse me. Like everyone knows. That's kind of like one if you wanted to describe me in less than 10 words, just say Batman Stan, and that's about it. So yeah. So for me, I will settle for it being in the top tier. It will not drop below Recess. For me,
I'm very okay with that. You've convinced me. Yeah. I think just the merch, the marketing, the Harley Quinn, it deserves at least one bump up. So you brought up Batman, which took your top. There are a bunch here. Like I'm looking at, let's see, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 in here, and like 4 of them I'm gonna argue for top spots. So there's a lot going on here.
All right, I'm here to.
Oh, actually, I want to talk about one that I don't really care for. Let's talk about the Smurfs.
Okay.
Yeah, the Smurfs are played out. I think they are one of the older cartoons that have just been redone to shit. Don't really care for the Smurfs. Papa Smurf, whatever, forget you. Smurfette, don't care about you. This is kind of like one of those whatever cartoons for me. Like, it was always on, and just by the nature of it being on and me being like, oh, it's the Smurfs, okay, I'll give it a watch. I didn't like the creepy villain they had, but for me, it's quintessential, it's on, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, the Smurfs is on. It's just one of those shows where it's fine. It's not problematic, and it has a storyline you can follow. I'd probably watch it before I watch Franklin.
Yeah, I would say so.
But that's it. We're not getting a lot of content from the Smurfs. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's dead. I believe it's dead. It's dead and deady.
Above Franklin.
Above Franklin. Yeah,
I'm fine with that placement. I'm that makes me really happy. I was very worried about my Smurf take coming through.
No. See, the Smurfs did have like their sister Smurfs, which were the Snorks, which were basically underwater Smurfs.
Oh,
that was on my original draft of the list, but I figured it would just be fodder because it's like the Smurfs but diet.
Snorks.
The Snorks.
I do not remember this at all.
It was underwater. They had like these little antenna things. They were kind of supposed to be like snorkels.
Wait.
And it was
dude, whoa. So one of my favorite plushies as a kid was a Snork.
Was a Snork?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
It was the orange one.
Hey, look at that.
Whoa. I had no fucking idea.
Yeah, the Snorks was, like I said, no one can tell you the plot of the Snorks, right? But I can at least tell you what was going on with the Smurfs. So yeah, the Snorks,
Oh my god! You know what? Yeah, it was this one. Wait, I'm gonna share this. with the.
I would like to see it.
With the squad. I just googled it and it exists. So I'm not, and it says Snorks on it, which is just extra stupid of me for not knowing.
Oh, okay. Never catch it.
Yeah, where is it? I'm gonna pull it up over here, so you should be seeing it now.
Is this your plushie?
This was my plushie. Okay, I goofed it. Okay, yeah, that one, the orange one. I did not know.
Let's see. Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, and I loved it, and I never fucking knew about this cartoon at all.
Yeah, that's a Snork. He's supposed to be underwater. That's why he has like the little, snorkel thing on the
yeah,
top of
that
his
makes
head.
sense.
But yeah, they were like a small community, like the Smurfs. But they were definitely like just kind of like the knockoff Smurfs. They weren't. They never made it into Smurf Smurf
I
history.
feel like there'd be more appeal for the Snorks, given that they're below water. How many good below water cartoons are there besides SpongeBob? Like, it would be good competition. Yeah.
That's fair. It wouldn't be competing against a lot. I think the problem is that the Smurfs was already there, kind of like the Jetsons and the Flintstones.
Right. It's like they already had the market. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Yeah. That's not a bad spot for the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So next is your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Scooby Doo. Where are you?
Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, this all goated shows at the end here. It's pretty ridiculous. So, Scooby Doo for me was pretty great. Again, it has jokes in it, but also if you scare easy as a kid, and believe me, I did. This was one of the cartoons I would watch with like my little sister there, because even her presence was enough for me to like not be like spooked the fuck out over like, because like one of the worst things Scooby Doo did for me was Scooby Doo invented the I'm gonna run after I turn off a light because now I'm in the dark, and like but like great song. It has a great crew of people. Obviously, I always related to the Shaggy and Scooby side of things over the Fred because I am not chiseled and blonde and white. So I was like, this is not me. I'm not the handsome guy here. And then I
thought you were gonna say because you were doing drugs.
Right? No. Because they love to eat, and I was like, hey, that's a little bit of me right there. So we're on the same page. But what was your experience with Scooby Doo?
I mean, yeah, Scooby Doo is iconic. There's nothing else. I mean, I liked the show. Don't get me wrong. I liked it a lot. It wasn't my favorite go-to cartoon. There were so many iterations of Scooby Doo. I picked Scooby Doo Where Are You because I think it's the most like popular one. But I remember when they had Scooby Doo would bring in like celebrities as guests on their show, and they would be solving mystery for like Phyllis Diller and like the Harlem Globetrotters and crap like that. Like it was so cool to me. And then they had the Scrappy Doo showed up, and there's a ton of Scooby Doo cartoon spinoffs and movie spinoffs. I think the Scooby Doo with the witches, I think that's one of the most iconic movie spinoffs of a cartoon movie ever. Like that, Scooby Doo is iconic. It's not my favorite show. There are some less iconic shows that I would put over Scooby Doo, but the impact is something we cannot ignore. Scooby Doo is definitely a top tier. It's one of the GOATs. It's got to be.
I liked the animated, the movies they did in the early 2000s. I know they weren't great movies, but I personally enjoyed them for whatever reason of my own. Scooby Doo Zombie Island was also a very creepy movie, but I definitely watched the fuck out of it multiple times.
Yeah, and Scooby Doo is one of those, like I think someone said, merch wise, you could dress like Scooby Doo today, and someone's gonna tell you it's Scooby Doo. And I don't even know if Scooby Doo cartoons have come on in the last 10 years. And also, it's recognizable. Yeah,
the Velma glow up in modern day with the costumes, like everyone's out here trying to pull off the Velma. No one's trying to fuck Daphne. Daphne's old school,
right?
Now. So
Slutty Velma is the go-to costume.
Love that. Yeah, Fred is whatever. I think the casting for the movie of Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar was like the perfect Freddie and Daphne combination for that movie too. Fred and Daphne. I don't know why I said Freddie, but no, this is an easy top 2 tier for me, honestly.
Right. Well, Puya, do you remember the show A Pup Named Scooby Doo?
No.
Okay, so you had a pup named Scooby Doo, which was basically Scooby Doo, but like miniature, right? So they were all kids at the time. And to me, way funnier than regular Scooby Doo, for sure. I see we have Tiny Toons and Looney Tunes on the list. We'll get into that power struggle later on, but it's very similar. It's very like, hey, you had Scooby Doo, which like was more like as a teenager you can enjoy this show, but a pup named Scooby Doo, yeah, it might edge it out for me. So Scooby Doo is iconic. It's in the top tier. I don't know where I would put it, but it's up there. I mean, it's up there.
I mean, like honestly, we're starting to get to the point where I'm like, should we just say everyone's tied at top because we're getting there? But I would say, I would say above Rugrats, to be honest.
Yes, split. Yeah. Give me Scooby Doo right. You got to put it above Hey Arnold.
I'm okay with that. I wanted to nice you, but I'm way more okay with it.
You got to put it above Hey Arnold just because, like, I love Hey Arnold to death. But Woo, Scooby Doo. I mean, it's Scooby Doo, man. He's like, you say his name, everyone knows who you're talking about. Everybody knows. Like, you don't have to explain Scooby Doo to anyone.
I've never been more intrigued on the concept of eating dog food than I have with Scooby snacks.
Listen, and you've never seen a pup named Scooby Doo. If you thought you wanted a Scooby snack, watch a pup named Scooby Doo. You will actually like physically probably go out and buy one because they make them look amazing. And he like floats in the air when he eats them. It's going to be on your homework list. I'm putting that and Hey Arnold on your list.
And let's make it clear. This isn't Scrappy Doo that you're talking about. That's a whole other thing, right?
This is literally we have adults and now they're children. So we got Daphne, Freddy, same cast, just tiny. Yeah. So
I'll put it on the list.
It's going to be on the list. It's on the list.
Okay, good. So
well, you know what's funny is that we're exhausting a lot of these resources, but if we do a part 2, we're going to have a lot less goats. We got a lot of the goats in this top tier right now.
This is true.
To the Mickey Mouses of them all.
Yeah. Well, maybe what we do is when we do a part 2, we'll pull this photo. We'll pull the same tier again, and we'll just keep adding to that tier potentially.
Oh my God! Yeah. We'd have to. Yeah, we might have to do that because the top tier is it's top heavy. I'm not gonna lie. This is top heavy. I feel like we're not being objective enough. So we might need to bring in some more controversy.
Yeah. So speaking of controversy, let's talk about Johnny Quest. So
all right, what do you think about Johnny Quest?
Johnny Quest, I remember watching it for sure. Because I've definitely seen it. I've seen it both in English and when I've been in Iran, I've seen it dubbed in Farsi, which is just any TV movie, anything that's dubbed is a no for me. I would rather read subtitles and have it be in its original, if anything. But for me, the biggest beef I have is with our one brown guy in the cast being named Haji Singh is like the most stereotypical name you can give a brown person. I was like, y'all really didn't think much in this writing room. You're like, he's brown. Fuck it. Let's call him Haji Singh. Let's move on. Like, so defo a miss for me. But that being said, I do think that this is a cartoon that definitely had more of a plot point. They were like, getting shit done, fighting crime, traveling to different places. So that's the thing. But also, I'm not well versed enough to remember if this holds up, if it still would be something that kids could watch. So I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, I think Johnny Quest was always great for me. Haji himself was the badass of Johnny Quest, to be quite honest. Johnny wasn't great at anything. It was kind of like they would get into these white people would get into these situations where they would be like in like unbearable conditions, and then Haji would come up with some random skill that he learned from God knows where, probably something very stereotypical and racist, but he would just have the skill and then it would save the day. I think their dog's name was Bandit, if I believe correctly.
Bandit sounds about right.
Yeah, Bandit sounds about right. I couldn't tell you a lot about the plot to Johnny Quest. Like, I couldn't tell you what the ultimate goal was. It looks like it's just, like I said, white people kind of just exploring and dragging their guide around with them. So for me, it's not going to crack the top tier. It has name recognition, but that's about it. Is it higher than the Smurfs?
It's higher than the Smurfs. I'll give it higher than the Smurfs because, again, the Smurfs have just lied their way to continuity in, like, the 2010s. Like, they did not deserve to be brought into the 2010s. So
we should have left the Smurfs behind a long time ago.
Yeah. Let's put it below... let's put it above Smurfs, below Jetsons. Let's put it in Dead, Dead, and Deady, I think.
Okay, Dead,
or maybe it's on because I think it has watchability if it's on just to watch it. So, yeah. Let's put it there too. Okay.
All right. Yeah. All right. Johnny Quest. All right. I see him.
Okay.
Very excited for Johnny Quest.
Where do we go next, though?
Well, I've kind of been avoiding this guy because I don't have a lot to add on him. He is who he is. But we'll talk about iconic theme songs. Let's talk about Darkwing Duck.
Very iconic theme song.
Very iconic theme song. Let's Get Dangerous. I love Darkwing Duck. Is he one of my favorite cartoon characters of all time? No. But I have very fond memories of Darkwing Duck. What do you think? I know you're a duck guy.
I'm a duck guy. So I think Darkwing Duck benefited from the time in which it was marketed and released. I feel like if you released a Darkwing Duck now, I don't think it'll be like beloved as much as it is. I feel like now that we've seen all these other like superheroes, it's like, and like, you know, cape wearing heroes, is Darkwing Duck really cutting it anymore? No. It's like, where are all the gadgets? Where's all the cool stuff? It's no longer there. So I feel like if I'm looking at it and I'm comparing my ducks, I definitely did watch more Ducktales, but I definitely respect Darkwing Duck for what it was. And again, I think that just having a great theme song is a bump for me in some way, shape, or form. Because if I know your theme song, you're doing something right. It stayed with me.
And this was a time where theme songs got you in the door, right? Like, so that was what we needed, was the theme song. You got to have the theme song, and that gets you to watch the show. And so, yeah, I like Darkwing Duck because, it was like the parody to all the the superhero spy shows that we had, right? So it was like a little bit of Batman, a little bit of Zorro, a little bit of the Long Ranger, a little bit of Green Hornet. So it touched on all of those things that I liked in other cartoons, but it was funny.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would ever, go back to. Like, I really need to watch Darkwing Duck. If anything, I'll go listen to the song and let it go.
Yeah, I think for that reason, this ends up being is this higher than Johnny Quest for you?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
They're about equal for me as far as like shows that I probably could live without. Darkwing Duck has a better theme song. Johnny Quest, I can vaguely remember one of Johnny Quest's theme songs, but then they had like another Johnny Quest iteration that I probably remember a little bit more vividly. But Darkwing Duck, I mean, you can't. It's outranking Johnny Quest for me. I think so.
I'm fine with putting it there. And then it's on. So the 5 that we're left with, I love all 5 dearly. I've watched all 5 very closely growing up. But I'm gonna start with the one that I've not watched in a minute. But again, want to talk iconic theme songs? Captain Planet, he's a hero. So
he's going to take pollution down to 0.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Captain Planet has that bit of like the Power Rangers appeal for me, where like everyone had to pull together to form like one superpower. So I like that a lot. Again, we're learning about stuff here. It's somewhat educational-ish, adjacent. Yeah. It's like crime fighting educational, which is, unique. So I definitely did enjoy this, but also I feel like this is a little bit of the I'm looking at it with rose-colored glasses because I've not watched it in a long ass time. So am I in a position where I'm just remembering it fondly and it's like it's not gonna live up at all?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I think Captain Planet, we remember him fondly, but the show in and of itself is probably overall forgettable. You had like the Power Ranger-esque feel, which is probably why people latched onto it. There's some diversity there. You got people from different countries coming together to beat pollution. But oh my God, that's got to be like the lamest of the superhero powers of all time. Like, I want to be a superhero to fight crime, but specifically pollution, which is just fine, But for me, no, not Captain Planet. Like, if you're ranking superheroes, Captain Planet's at the bottom. Yeah, that man doesn't have any powers, and he scoffs in the face of Captain Planet. Like, are you serious? Yeah. And so, no, that Captain Planet, it's cool, it's cute or whatever, but. No, I'm sorry. And then especially because they have to combine their powers, right, to like call him. And you have earth and water and wind and fire, and then you got heart. And that poor kid, that's all he got was heart. Like listen. Okay, cool or whatever, but dang, like fire would be nice right now in this forest. I don't know what heart's gonna do, but okay, fire would be great. Like, we're in the middle of the ocean with water. I would love to have some water right now, but I guess heart's fine. So.
The only time a heart superpower would have come through is if there was an episode where they're at a basketball match and their team's losing by 21 and they need heart to come through and really pull up some threes. Like, that's the only time.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, and there was a couple episodes that were kind of like that where like it was like, oh no, what are we gonna do? We don't have Mati with his heart ring to come out and save the day, and then like they're all trapped in like a box, and all you have is Mati, and then he can like heart somebody, and then they're like start to like feel things like, oh, I guess I should let these kids out of the box.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, thank God you were here, you and your monkey, you know. So I'm gonna Captain Planet for me. He's a wash. Captain Planet's going down.
I think so. Here's the thing. The biggest thing for me, we're in a day and age now where I think more than when Captain Planet first came out, we're talking about pollution, global warming, and like carbon emissions and all this stuff. If this cartoon was any good, it would be around right now. They would have rebooted it, and they would have been showing it to kids from now to mend those minds. The fact that it isn't out here means that they probably went a different direction, and that's no good. That means that the fact that you'd be in most demand right now, and they're like, keep them. Like, that's not great. So
if he's our protector against pollution and global warming and things of that nature, he failed, and he's a horrible superhero. So he's going down to the bottom. Maybe not Little Bear Bottom, but definitely like he's down there kicking it with the Smurfs.
Above the Smurfs. I want it known that I do not like the Smurfs. So above the Smurfs for me.
Okay. Cool.
Right. Okay. So who do you want to talk about next?
We don't have that many more options left.
No.
Let me scroll down. Let me see your graphics. Let me see.
All right. So we got Animaniacs, Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons, and Tom and Jerry.
This is even hard just deciding where to start.
Yeah.
Animaniacs is where I want to go.
Okay. So
spoiler alert, Animaniacs is my favorite of the four that are left.
I love all four of these. But to me, it's, we're talking Captain Planet being a little educational, not living up to it. Animaniacs to this day. There's stuff that happened in there that you will remember fondly that were educational, that did help. I love the three of them. I had storybooks with their adventures on them. Loved those, read those constantly. They had a great bowling game on the PS1, which I played to death. I was telling Leon about it. I'm going to find it. Yeah, it was so good. It's like
the best game. Yeah, it's the best game.
And this is something that Liana owns the DVDs to Animaniacs. This is how much it impacted her life. It's like she's big on the Animaniacs. But no, Animaniacs was great. And to me, this is easily in conversation for being in the top as well.
Oh, yeah. And the Animaniacs gave us other cartoons, too. It gave us Pinky and the Brain.
Yes.
You don't have Pinky and the Brain without the Animaniacs. And Pinky and the Brain ended up being its own phenomenon, its own show. Yeah. I think if Pinky and the Brain is going to be in the conversation for one of the top spots, then you can't do that without the Animaniacs. They would teach you your states. They teach you the state capital. They teach you the countries in the world. They teach you the presidents. If you wanted to learn something and also laugh, Animaniacs was that show.
Yeah.
The question is Animaniacs a show that is going to outrank Recess? Because that's kind of, Recess is my marker, right? Because Recess is a top tier show, but at the same time, I'm looking at Animaniacs much more fondly than I'm looking at Recess.
Same. I think, honestly, ultimately for me, is that they could easily make a new cartoon with a ragtag group of high schoolers, and that will take over Recess if it hits right. So the fact that Recess is replacement in the top, I think is the perfect marker, and I think Animaniacs is at the very least above Recess. I think it stays there because I'm not going to lie to you. Looking at this list now, everything from Animaniacs and above, to me, is almost on the same level of, like, great. So we're really splitting hairs if we're moving them one way or the other.
That's true. That's why I said we're gonna have to do a round two eventually. We will. Because it's happening. Because like I said, our top tier is so heavy, right? It's just all of these things are iconic. That means none of these shows are less than, and that's not how I like to live my life. I like rules, and so if we got all these guys up there, we're definitely gonna have to do another one to kind of make sure that we balance out the bottom.
Absolutely.
but give me Animaniacs over Recess for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to put the feedback form in the chat for anyone who's here. If you have any suggestions for other cartoons to be included on this list, throw them in there, and I'll make sure to put them on our list, because if we're doing a part 2, we'll know it's coming, and I can prepare in time and watch a couple of these episodes to get there. Like, I saw, I believe your buddy Lex brought up Freakazoid, which I remember fondly, of like...
one of my favorites, yeah.
Mask, the animated series, I noticed late last night, is not on the list that we could have put in there. Inspector Gadget is one that's there. Like, there's so many other cartoons to look at. So part 2's definitely happening. Definitely happening.
I omitted a lot of the Fox channel cartoons, not on purpose, but just because they didn't. I wasn't a Fox guy at first, so I left off like Kirby, and I think Jumanji had a cartoon. And
Jumanji had a cartoon. I did not know that.
Yeah, I did, and Mighty Max and Sonic the Hedgehog. So like I left off a lot. I just you gave me an impossible task, Puya. I just was looking at I was like, what does he mean 25? Didn't he mean 60? And
well that's the thing is that because I'm trying to keep these in the 2-hour window, and I know that between 20 to 30 is where we would hit 2 hours, but I'm not opposed to doing a longer one of these at some point where we just go through, we hammer out more than what we did today. But now that you've shown interest in part 2, I can officially invite you on air of like, you're down for part 2. Part 2's going in the books at some point. We're definitely doing it again.
Yeah, as long as your streamers will have me, like I'm down to talk about whatever. But this. I told you, this is my bag.
Yeah,
yeah. But okay, cool. So
I heard. So just quickly go aside for like 2 minutes, not to really go off topic. But I've been seeing some like big like candy corn fandom coming from your end of things, and I'm hearing that if I do a seasonal candy joint, you have to be involved with that tier list.
Well, hold on real quick, because I want to be very...
Oh, no, don't bring... Okay, he's bringing the bag. He's bringing something over.
It's not a bag. I just keep it close to me.
Oh, my God. You have, like, a whole... That is way too nice of a container for candy corn.
This is just today's container. Like, you got to fill it up before you go to work. And so I've been
You're going to eat this and then replace it tomorrow?
Yeah. Like daily intake of candy corn.
Oh, Chappell.
It's immaculate. And I mean, and I think the best part about candy corn is that it's seasonal, right? So I only have to do this like once a year. And then I get the rest of the year to, be healthy and stuff like that. But then when Halloween and October comes around, when everybody is pumpkin spicing it up, I am candy corning it up. So
yeah, so when everyone else is going pumpkin spice bullshit, you're like candy corn bullshit. That's my bullshit.
Candy corn, yes. And
okay.
and the chat is booing and hissing me. My friend Lex is leading the charge. You can block him again.
You're over it. You're like, get Lex out. You know what? Actually, I was offended.
Yeah, he's in the chat making friends, but I need you guys to know that candy corn is that girl. I'm not saying it's the best cartoon. I mean, the best candy, but it's definitely the best seasonal candy. There's the Peeps. I see you Peeps haters out there. You haters like standing for Peeps and Circus Peanuts and all that other crap. Candy canes. Yeah, they have nothing on candy corn. So
yeah, live your best life. Do what makes you happy. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Perfect. Okay, so we're left with like some old school hitters here. I want to leave those two for the end. Let's go Tiny Toons. Actually, you know what? If I do Tiny, we have to do Looney Tune first, then Tiny Toon after. So
yeah,
honestly, the three left to me, I grew up with them fondly. Looney Tunes was big. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've watched different Bugs Bunny stuff, Daffy Duck stuff, Sylvester and Tweety stuff, Speedy Gonzales up in there, Wile E. Coyote, and the Roadrunner. Like, all of them. I've watched them countless hours. And
yes,
I believe I can honestly say that there's still so many that I never ended up watching because there's a lot of them made. So there was a reason why, for me, more than one that Space Jam hit, because all of them were in there. Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd, there's so many in that universe. Loved all of it. All of it. This, like, Looney Tunes was just incredible for its, for what it was, and it just never got old to me. I enjoyed every bit of it. I know that there's some episodes here and there that have not stood the test of time, that have been, removed or like banned or whatever. I don't know exactly which ones to like give an example of right now, but I imagine they exist.
Yeah.
And then Tiny Toons, I remember watching, and Tiny Toons is obviously like just like the what was it, a pup named Scooby Doo kind of thing, where it's the kid version of them, but it's not really them. Like it's different.
Right. It's like almost like they're children.
Right. Yeah. So Tiny Toons to me was also great. Like they had a lot of good episodes, a lot of memorable episodes. They had one where like they did songs, and like they had a great game on the Sega Genesis machine. That was a great game. So I'm saying these two together just because one is like the older version and then one's like the newer take on it. I feel like I can't not put this in It'll Never Get Old. I feel like that's where it belongs.
Yeah, no, you're right. Both. Okay, so here's the thing. Looney Tunes, I'd argue, could have the number one spot because you don't get a lot of these cartoons if you don't have Bugs Bunny.
Right.
You don't get like these theme parks without Bugs Bunny. You don't get Space Jam without Bugs Bunny. So I'd argue that Looney Tunes can have the number one spot. Now, when it comes to Tiny Toons, you don't need Tiny Toons.
Yeah, that's more of a that's definitely more of a personal, like my personal nostalgia and wrapped up in it.
And I love Tiny Toons. I do. I was with you. I played the game. Okay, I was there. Okay. I remember Ducky go down the hole. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That toilet episode was hilarious.
He like did an elevator go up.
Yeah.
So I remember Tiny Toons fondly. Buster and Babs and Dizzy and all these little versions of whatever. I think the only mark Tiny Toons might have against it is that that skunk was kind of molesty. Skunk.
Well, so was Pepe. Cat. Both of them were like hella creepy.
Yeah, they were kind of they do got a little mark against them in that area, but I think the impact of Looney Tunes has to stand on its own. Now, Tiny Toons for me is not better than Animaniacs. No. And you have to tell me if you agree.
I agree. Again, like I think a lot of it is my personal nostalgia, but definitely if you wanted to say it's not even in the top tier and it would be it still holds up, I'm okay to putting it there. But if not, I would put it I'll put it you know what? Let's put it below Recess. Like
it's gonna be below Recess, but I'm gonna have to push for it to go lower.
Okay, so next it still holds up.
It's gonna be, and it still holds up, but I don't. Is Tiny Toons better than the Powerpuff Girls?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Tiny Toons better than SpongeBob?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I can't tell where my bias ends and the show begins, kind of thing. But I think if I put it below SpongeBob, I can rest easy knowing that I didn't push for my own personal show to like bump up for no reason.
Yeah. Well, look, spoiler alert. I wasn't gonna let it surpass Doug. It just wasn't.
Okay,
so,
that's fine.
It can go after SpongeBob if you want.
Yeah,
but it was not gonna go past Doug for me. You wanted to pass Doug, you bring someone else on.
Yeah,
it's not happening today. Okay. Does that mean we only have one more spot?
Just one more, and that's Tom and Jerry right here.
All right, and now I will go ahead and Tom and Jerry, for me, is going to be in that top tier. It's going to be at the very top. The question is Tom and Jerry going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, right? Like, it's in there. It's got to be. There's no, impact-wise, this is one of those cartoons that you're 3 years old and you know what Tom and Jerry is, and it never even come on TV. Is Tom and Jerry going to beat Scooby Doo?
So I think it should. I think Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes should be 1 and 2. They're just they've literally been going on forever, and they've just not stopped being great. My dad, Tom and Jerry was his joint, and my dad's like 80 at this point, 80, 70. So he's older basically, but he loved it. I had a VHS tape that was 6 hours long that was just full of Tom and Jerry on it.
Yeah.
When we had the Tom and Jerry marathons on like Cartoon Network on the weekends, my dad recorded all of them for me. So I watched a lot of Tom and Jerry. And it's very easy. It's like the episodes aren't that big. It's a very easy come in, watch a bunch, leave. It's fine. I think that to me, it stands the test of time. It's just incredible. And it's more iconic.
Okay.
And to me, it's more important. And I would put it personally above Scooby Doo. But I recognize that everything we've discussed today about how much can you market them, how much are they in popular culture, it definitely is below them in that regard. So it makes it hard for me.
Okay. I'll make it a little bit easier.
Okay.
I'd argue that it is the second spot on the list. And here's why. Because of what you just said. You could watch Tom and Jerry for hours, and it didn't take much. Tom and Jerry was going to entertain you. You know, there didn't have to be a strong plot. I mean, it was, you know, cat chases mouse, the end. You know, a lot of times. And it still did what needed to be done. It won't beat Looney Tunes for me just because Looney Tunes gets the Space Jam bump. You know, there's so much in Looney Tunes. There are Looney Tunes worlds and stuff and theme parks and all kinds of stuff for Looney Tunes. Tom and Jerry is in that second spot. I really do think it is. As much as I hate seeing Hey Arnold fall so low, and yes, to me that's low. I cannot be disrespectful. Tom and Jerry deserves the second spot for sure.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's the perfect place to land for Tom and Jerry. And honestly, you like again looking at this more, it's like you nailed it. We definitely have a top heavy list here, but here's the final list for everyone who wants to see a bigger version of it. So we've got Bingham, we have Little Bear and Johnny Bravo. In Dead and Deady, we have Franklin, the Smurfs, and Captain Planet. In the middle tier, it's on. We have Johnny Quest, Darkwing Duck, the Jetsons, Pepper Ann, Gargoyles, Ducktales, and Dexter. And it still holds up. You've got Powerpuff Girls, Tiny Toon Adventures, SpongeBob, Doug, and the Flintstones. And then in It'll Never Get Old, we have Recess, Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series, Arthur, Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Scooby Doo, Magic School Bus, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tom and Jerry, and Looney Tunes. So
that is a hell of a list. I like that. Yeah, I have no strong objections to any of that. I would love to see Doug in the top in the Never Gets Old, but it's just not going to be there. It's fine. Because we got Hey Arnold in there, and so I could take that one. I'll sacrifice Doug for Hey Arnold any day. But yeah, I think that was good. But like we said, it's top heavy. That means there's a lot of junk in the middle that we have left off. And I intend on going and rightfully placing them below where they think they belong. So whenever you're ready, if your streamers will have me, hit me up and we can do this again.
You got it. I mean, we're still in September. I think let's say it right here. You know, you're the candy corn king now that we've learned. I am. So we can have you on in October. We'll pick a Tuesday, and then we'll go through part 2 of cartoons, and we'll do another 25 or 30, whatever we need to do. We'll get it done.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
All right. So before I, do the plugs and everything here, just wanted to let everyone know before everyone starts leaving, I'll be back on Friday night, about 12 midnight, 1 a.m. doing the pad. We're just gonna be chilling, hanging out. That's all good. Among Us stream is officially part of the rotation. It's part of the schedule. I've got a guest of 9 people, myself added on for 10, playing Among Us Sunday at 5 Eastern. So mark that down, Sunday, 5 Eastern. We're going to be back with some more Among Us shenanigans. That stream could be 3 hours, could be 6. I have no idea. The game's addictive, and everyone's trying to play, so it'll be a long one. So if you're ready for that, tune in Sunday for the Among Us. Chappell, I know you got a lot going on, man. They can see your Twitter in the screen the whole time, but thank you for coming through and plug the shit you're on, man. Plug your shows.
Oh, yeah. Well, I am doing a lot of Big Brother coverage right now.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever anybody will have me, I'll talk about Big Brother. I was just on the slop on the RHAP yesterday. I'm podcasting today with post-show recaps for Lovecraft Country. So if you watch that show, that'll be released, I guess, in the next couple of days. I'm about to go record that now with Josh Wigler and LaTanya Starks and Kevin Maedeo. This weekend, I'm doing the B&B, so I get to talk to Liana, and Mike, so that'll be fun. I'm just the busiest man in show business right now, so I got a podcast probably. Oh, and I'm doing Avatar: The Last Airbender Saturday morning with Jacob Redmond and Zach. So
nice.
I'm booked and busy, but yeah, follow me on Twitter at Chappell's_show. That's CHAPPELLS_show. And try to make me laugh. That's what I normally am talking about, just laughing and stuff. So there you go. Thanks, Puya.
Yeah, no problem, man. Honestly, thanks for coming through. I mean, I didn't even know how busy your week was going to be because we were trying to do this last week, but then we did it this week. And the fact that you were willing to take this project on with all the other stuff going on, I thank you for giving it the time. Honestly, appreciate that. And one other thing is, what's it called? Chappell was also on Renap this past week. For the I'm a Renap Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So you can check that out. That was a fun time. And also
2 hours of foolishness.
yeah. So I have a project with Renap coming through. I've put the form in the chat while I explain what it is. It's the Am I the Asshole podcast. So basically the plan is, the vision is, I want entries from people that listen to the podcast or are part of the universe, listen to me, whatever. If you have a Am I the Asshole question or story that you need deliberation on, please fill the form that I put in the chat. And that way you'll be in the rotation. I'm looking to have people's stories deliberated where Rob and Akiva are going to sit down and deliberate whether or not you were the asshole in a particular situation. So you can find that in the chat over there. So that's what AITA stands for, if you didn't know. It's Am I the Asshole? So yeah. Yeah. And then... Cool. Yeah, and then aside from the stream, I've got the Masked Singer podcast. I've got the 90 Day podcast. Both of those will be coming to your feeds at some point, and then you can catch me Friday morning for the live feed update for another Puya Friday. No, dude. So we're not looking for assholes. It's one of those questions of like, it's like one of those things. It's like, okay, so this is like, okay, let me give you one example. So for example, it's like, oh, I ended up ignoring my family over the weekend to play video games, and like they got mad and I told them to leave me the fuck alone. Am I an asshole for doing that, or is it within my right to have my alone time and not have dinner with family? And then they'll deliberate and they'll talk through it. That's like a vague example, but there's many more similar to that. So yeah, okay,
it's gonna be fun.
It is We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the entrants do, but until next time, take care, stay hydrated. I will see you midnight Friday for the pad. But have fun, and honestly watch some of these cartoons because the nostalgia hits.